0864. Stations your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
Man, it feels great to be a Duck. Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Their competitors, they'll want to put the O on.
Three, got it!
We're going to compete to a standard every day.
The Oregon standard.
Rebound. Up and in. 1.4 to go.
The opportunity to play, put Oregon on your chest, should mean a great deal to you.
Unloads on one into left field. Back toward the wall. Gone!
This program is staged to compete and to win championships.
Oregon wins!
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, let's talk Oregon athletics.
Joey Mack here with you. We've got Rob Moseley, editor-in-chief of GoDucks.com, coming up in just a little while. Dan Lanning met with the media after practice. If you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, he talked at about 11:30. We have his full conversation with the media on the horizon. Also, Matt Ulmer, Oregon Volleyball head coach, 6-match winning streak for Duck Volleyball. It's another big weekend in the Pac-12. Oregon trying to win the Pac-12 conference for the first time. It's amazing. The Ducks have consistently been in the upper echelon of the Pac-12. But the goal this year is to win the conference, and they're off to a good start, off to a really good start. We're going to talk about the Arizona State match, the Arizona match, and then, of course, what's up next for Duck Volleyball. And it doesn't get much easier in the Pac-12. They're on the road. Pullman. Beautiful place. Washington State. Pretty good team. Can talk with Matt Ulmer about that coming up. Let's see. Also, walk-on tryouts, everybody. Alex Stimson's got eligibility left.
Been waiting all year. Been here for about 10 years, Joey. Obviously still eligibility left. So, Dana, if you're listening, I'm sure you are. Just look out for the jumper. You'll see it. When you see it, you'll know.
What's your free throw percentage?
Joey, back to you.
Alex Stimson, walk-on tryouts. Monday, October 10th at Matthew Knight Arena, 5 o'clock. Head to the staff and media entrance. You must be enrolled full-time at Oregon. Bring your UOID and bring appropriate workout attire. Head to the Oregon basketball social media pages. They've got a waiver that you have to fill out before you get to Matthew Knight Arena. You don't want to be the student that's sitting there going, hey, does anybody have a pen? Don't be that person. Don't. Alex might be that person.
Got a pen right here, Joey.
That a boy.
Look at that. Look at that pen.
Alex Simpson, by the way,
Freshman.
multitasking extraordinaire here in the studio. He's also uploading all of the post-practice interview conversations to YouTube right now. Well done, Alex.
Thanks, Joey.
I really needed it back to you again. Can I?
Back to you, Joey.
We have way too much fun doing this show. Anyway, walk-on tryouts, though, in all seriousness, Monday, October 10th, 5 p.m., Matthew Knight Arena. More details, Oregon basketball social media channels. Dan Lanning, Oregon football head coach, before the 6 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. He met with the media after practice. Let's let you hear from the head coach.
Good day of prep today. Still not where we need to be yet for a game. Still got more prep work to do. Playing a team that's really getting into a rhythm here as of late, getting more explosive on offense. They're able to operate really clean right now. So we have to go out there and create some plays and create some negative plays for them. So looking for that as we move forward. Today was our red area third down day. Still want to see some side improvement there.
What have you seen by way of improvement in the penalties aspect and discipline
Yeah,
stuff?
we're getting better.
Troy mentioned something about up-down punishments for penalties in practice. Is that something you guys implemented this week?
We do skill sets. We do skill set work. So if there's something we can get better from a football improvement standpoint, we'll make sure we're able to do stuff that can improve us as football players.
Sean Dollar's got some more touches last week. Was that part of the game plan, or is he just kind of finding more of his role in the offense?
Yeah, he's always part of what we're doing, part of our game plan. Certain situations will dictate how much we get to use him, right? But he's always part of the game plan.
In your last road game, you didn't necessarily come out and start the way you wanted to, and fortunately, you finished how you wanted to, but what kind of advice have you been giving the guys going into another road game about the importance of starting fast and strong with an offense?
Yeah, we want to start fast, right? That's, we talk about being battle tested this week, right? And we've been in some battles so far this season. We want to start fast. We don't, hurt ourselves early on to start.
This has helped when we're talking about with Wazoo, some of the challenges of the road. This is maybe not the most daunting road environment, but I think from maybe outside the program, there's a feeling about going to Arizona and historically going to the desert that a lot of people inside the building really have never experienced. And that kind of helps to not know that, to not experience that at times.
Yeah, I think our players are aware of, the history there in this game. Anytime you go on the road in this conference, it's going to be a challenge. We're expecting Arizona's absolute best. But just like we've kind of said every week, we're not playing Arizona, we're playing Oregon, right? That's our focus right now. We got to be the best version of us.
Vasa has seen an increase in snaps over the past few weeks. How have you seen him grow so far from start to now where you are?
He's just becoming more and more familiar with his purpose and what we're trying to get accomplished. There's some rules and some things that have to take place in this defense, and I think he's becoming very comfortable with how to execute those rules within the defense.
There's an opposing running back who they utilize as much in the passing game. I don't think you guys have faced one just quite as much as Wiley. How much does that change from what you expect from the inside linebacker, what you ask for from the inside linebackers in a game like this?
Yeah, I think we have to do a great job. When we play zone, we have to do a great job of zone break on the ball, buddy tackles. When we play man, we have to be able to hug up into our coverage and get hands-on. They're elusive, and they do a good job in the passing game with him. We experienced a little bit of that with the check-down game of Washington State. We'll see it more and more this season as it goes, but definitely have to do a good job in coverage this game.
Do you have any idea for availability for Byron Carvel this week?
Not right now.
What are you looking forward to the most?
The goal is always to go out there and win the game, right? So I'm looking forward to walking off the field with the W, right? We got a lot of work between now and then to get there.
Troy mentioned yesterday about how much going against Christian Gonzalez has helped him. Just what have you seen from that matchup and how both of those guys have improved?
Yeah, iron sharpens iron, right? When you get an opportunity to go against a good player every single day in practice, that usually carries over to the field on game day. So it's great that Troy and Christian get to go against each other. We have a lot of battles like that throughout our program. I think that's what makes us better.
You mentioned earlier in the year, football's a copycat thing, and teams will try and replicate maybe what defense or offenses have accomplished against you defensively on the perimeter. Have you improved there, you feel like?
Well, every week you give up new plays, and you're going to see those new plays get carried over. But that's been pretty consistent regardless of whatever team we've played. We're seeing plays that we've had hit against us earlier in the season. The question is, did you fix it or not? You usually don't find out until you actually get out there on the field. But we had some copycat plays in the last game that we were able to take away. I think we'll continue to see those throughout the season. That's pretty common.
How much did you know Jed before you got out here?
Knew of, didn't really know well. I've gotten to know him much better, through Pac-12 meetings and things like that. Got a lot of, respect for him and his history.
Coach, a while back you said that you guys evaluate the entire road trip from start to finish. Self-evaluation now for another road trip. Is there anything you guys are looking to do better on this one and just in terms of the trip?
Not a lot of changes from a trip standpoint. A little bit later game than we've had on our other 2 road trips, but doesn't really affect much. We've got a schedule and a model that we follow.
Oregon head coach Dan Lanning meeting with the media today after practice. Last time they'll hear from Coach before the Toyota Coaches Corner as part of the pregame show, which begins at 4 o'clock across the Oregon Sports Network ahead of the 6 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. Looking forward also to having Coach Martin on with Terry Johns. He sat down, actually Coach Meat did with Terry today. Really, really fun interview on our McDonald's Assistant Coaches Spotlight. That's coming up as part of the pregame show. What else we got? We'll talk to Terry Johns about that tonight because he's hosting the pregame show. Also tonight, the reason we'll see Terry tonight, the Oregon Football Coaches Show coming your way this evening, 7 o'clock start time. Coach Dan Lanning with Jerry and Jorgie. I lied to you. Tonight will be the next time that you hear from Coach Dan Lanning because he's going to be on the Oregon Football Coaches Show with Jerry and Jorgie. Also, Ryan Walk will be with us, our player spotlight, the veteran, the Eugene guy. We got a lot to talk about. I'm excited to talk with Ryan Walk on the Coaches Show tonight. 7 o'clock, Oregon Football social medias. That's what we're going to start saying now. Just the Oregon Football social medias. I don't need to say social media channels. You guys know what I'm talking about. GoDucks YouTube, Oregon Sports Network. It's all the same stuff. When we come back, Rob Moseley, editor-in-chief, GoDucks.com. He has a tough act to follow this week. Tough act to follow. See if he can do it on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, Rob Moseley is here. Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. You got a tough act to follow.
Coach Lanning?
No, last week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my nemesis isn't here.
Yeah, he left right before you got here.
Yeah.
He said that he didn't want to be here when you were here.
Probably better for everyone.
Yeah. He's actually going over to Jane Sanders Stadium, Oregon softball, talking with the media here in a little bit.
Next.
So you're off to the Jane as well here shortly. So we'll get you out of here quickly and timely, I promise.
Sounds like a plan.
So press conference for Oregon softball. You'll see that later this afternoon on the GoDucks YouTube. Maybe something on GoDucks.com as well.
I think so.
Yeah. Toy Drive. Did you know that?
Yes.
Yeah. Toy Drive. 11 a.m. on
I got to go
Sunday.
shopping. I don't have a lot of toys around the house.
Yeah, I don't either.
But I want to contribute.
You know,
you don't have a lot of toys around the house?
No, I actually don't.
Or
so
just
like
not yet.
Well, exactly.
Right.
We didn't request upon becoming parents 7 weeks ago a bunch of toys because they don't really do anything when they're this little.
Right.
And then choking hazards, all those things. And now I'm
smart.
I'm kind of ready for the toy era, because then I can buy toys for him that are really for me.
For you, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my brother and his boy, his oldest kid, there's a lot of Legos constructed.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not 100% sure who gets more enjoyment out of that.
Yeah.
It might be Dad.
I was a big Lincoln Log and Tinker Toy kid.
Lincoln Logs, yep. I had Lincoln Logs. I
were
did not have
great.
Tinker Toys, but I had Lincoln Logs.
Yeah. I also huge Thomas the Tank Engine kid. So I had the really nice wooden train tracks. I've requested from my parents that those be handed down to Jordy, but my parents saw right through my ploy.
That it was you that wanted to play with.
And they were like, no, those are going to stay at our house so that he comes over.
Oh, nice.
And I was
Smart. Savvy. Hey, you got to tip your hat. Sometimes you got to tip your hat.
You do. You do. So, Mom and Dad.
Well played.
Yeah, well played. Rob Moseley's here. So, yeah, tough act to follow last week. He did not have his usual Diet Mountain Dew, so we might actually stay on track today. We were talking on the Quack Minute about the game history between Oregon and Arizona.
Yeah.
Been a while since the Ducks have won there, but also haven't played there very much. Rob, you mentioned on the Quack Minute the first game you covered with the Ducks was in '98 on the road at Arizona.
First road game, yeah.
First road game, okay. I've never been to this football stadium. This is one of two Pac-12 football stadiums that I have never been to.
It's wild. I mean, you're way up high, and the press box is glassed in, which you understand because it gets so hot there. You'd want it air conditioned. But then their longtime SID, Tom Duddleston, I think his name was, would be like the press box PA guy. Now, this is all inside baseball. This is
great.
Being at the game from like a reporter's point of view. But he has this like, it's like you're in a library. Like, pass complete, 4 yards.
Oh, no.
First down.
Over the in-house PA.
That's like the in-house PA to provide play-by-play for like all the media in attendance. And it's such a strange contrast because the fans are laid out in front of you. You can't really hear them well because you're glassed in. You're so high, and then you feel like you're in a library watching this all go down. So it's a unique experience that way.
Yeah, I am not a fan of press boxes with closed windows because you feel removed from the action.
No doubt. The great tradition of Dave Williford is continued now, has been passed down through the ages. Nate Kruger maintains, unless there's a hurricane.
That's right.
We're keeping the windows open at Autzen Stadium, but you understand it in Arizona. Like I say, it's hotter than Hades down there sometimes. And I'm not a man who likes being sweaty.
Me neither.
So I appreciate that. But yeah, no, it's a tough place. As I mentioned, that '98 game, I think it was 38-3, and that was a really good Oregon team with Akili Smith and Reuben Jones and all that. I can't remember where exactly that game fell in terms of Reuben's health, but the one memory is Trunk Candidate going nuts. And I don't even really remember, now 25 years ago, I don't really remember like a certain play. I just remember that name and the fact that he went crazy. I think he ran for like 170, 180 yards and it was a super one-sided game. And I was in my last year as a college student working for the Emerald and went down there, and that was a rough introduction down there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if there's one play, it's that crazy pass Marcus threw that like was going out of bounds, and a guy like threw it back into Scooby Wright.
Scooby Wright
was involved in that play somehow. Did he catch the ball after it came
he was
back
involved
in bounds?
in every play on their defense.
Yeah, he was a good player, man. He really was a good player. That's probably the play that sticks out the most. But it's just a tough place. The game that sticks out the most by far is that 2009 game.
44-41.
How awesome that was. And Ed Dixon catching the touchdown. And Moseley had, 3 rushing, 3 passing touchdowns in that game. The fans were coming down onto the sideline to charge the field thinking they were going to win. And because the winner of that game, that season was just freaking awesome. By far, hands down, the most entertaining Oregon football season ever, 2009. I think the winner of that game was in control of the Rose Bowl race.
Okay.
So Oregon wins, and then the next week was Oregon State, and the winner of that game goes to the Rose Bowl.
That's right.
So it was like 2 straight, win, do or die type games, and that one goes 3 overtimes. That's the game, right, where Nate Costa had the hold.
That's right.
And gets Special Teams Player of the Week for being the holder on a field goal.
Yep.
There's a good memory at Arizona Stadium, but there's been some not as good ones.
Well, you mentioned it that Marcus Mariota lost there.
Right.
Dude didn't lose a lot of games as a quarterback for the Ducks.
Right.
So in 2018, I didn't make that trip. I was the best man in my cousin's wedding, and so I didn't make that trip. And I've been told by everybody that I should just forget that game ever occurred in 2018.
I'm going to be honest. I think I must have done so.
Oh, really?
I don't really remember many details from that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just not a good day for the Ducks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, the point is that the Oregon fan base is well aware of this, and so this is a chance to exercise some demons, whether the team thinks about it or not. They don't.
What did happen?
But the fans do.
Was Herbert healthy? Did he play in that game? I've completely.
No, it's just a bad game. Just block it out.
We're gonna stop. We're gonna not talk about it.
Don't even.
Well, I've done that.
Good.
Successfully. So why am I trying to dredge it back up?
Yeah, no, you've done it. You've done it right.
My bad. We're moving on.
Good job.
Yeah.
But no, I think that this is going to be a great test because going on the road is always difficult, and we talked about this heading into the Washington State game. There are still things you got to be able to do on the road to be successful. We touched on starting fast. I think that this is still, and I've said this for a few games for Oregon this season, I think that there's still something to prove here in this game. You can go on the road and be successful.
Yeah, and, I think a fundamental that any team's going to want to try to do if you're establishing yourself and try to get game control is run the ball. Mm-hmm. And this is an Oregon football team that has proven it can run the ball. I mean, you look at how consistently explosive this team has been running the ball. I think in the conference of guys that have 25 or more carries, Nix and Irving are 1-2 in yards per carry. It's not a lot of 40 and 50 yard runs. It's just a whole lot of 8 and 10 and 12 yard runs. But I think if you look at Arizona's results, there's some games where they've struggled to stop the run too. So, just kind of on paper, you look at a matchup and say, okay, if Oregon's going to try to establish itself, I mean, that's probably the kind of matchup you like, saying, hey, let's take control of this game. The problem you have going against Arizona is no matter how big of a hole, let's say you do start fast and put them in a hole early, as explosive as their passing offense is, they can get back into a game real quick. So, you're never gonna be able to count them out. I mean, Delora is just a magician, and his receivers are really, really good. So that's.
Coach Lanning has talked a lot about how this receiving core is probably the best that Oregon has faced, and so I think for the defensive backfield, it is a test. I look at Arizona's season, and it's been some ups and downs. I think everything going on at San Diego State, I thought Arizona would win that game, but they won it handily, right? 38-20. Then they come home, they lose to an SEC foe, 39-17. North Dakota State, we know, was going to be on Oregon's schedule.
Yeah.
Really, really good team at that level. They win that game 31-28. Then they go on the road, they lose to Cal. It's been such a roller coaster up and down for Arizona.
But look at where they've been. Just to be on the roller coaster,
exactly.
And they were stuck in the station,
right?
For it felt like a few years there. So just to be a team that feels like it's in most games, and you're still figuring out how to win consistently and maybe pull out some close games, what have you. I haven't watched them real close this year, but just to be talking about their program in that regard says something about the progress they've made.
Yeah, that's exactly my point, is that this is a different Arizona team than what it was a year or two ago, and I think that's a credit to what they've done. So still a test for sure. I was thinking about this too. You mentioned running the ball, right, and just how that has really helped in a lot of facets. You run the ball, you're going to have success. I mean, Bo Nix be the first to tell you, some of my numbers get bloated by an 80-yard touchdown run, but also – just his ability and his athleticism, similar to Delora. We're going to see two mobile quarterbacks in this game. Makes it kind of fun.
Yeah, for sure. And, we're talking about Marcus Mariota. I mean, sometimes he makes you, harken back to those days. And, Marcus obviously is just a special runner among guys who play quarterback. And so I don't mean to suggest Nix is quite to that level, but, maybe as close since then, as a guy who can really make some things happen. I mean, Justin Herbert, you got him in the open field, let him use that long stride. I mean, he was hard to catch, but in terms of quickness in tight spaces, and then also the ability to hit top speed, Marcus was obviously elite at both of those, and Bo has some of that ability to kind of be quick, kind of in a phone booth and create some room for himself. And then when he does get some room, as he showed last week, he can run away from you too. So such a great element. And just as we've talked about over the weeks, I mean, how multifaceted this offense is. It's so fun to watch, and for sure it's got to be driving defensive coaches on the other side nuts, because there are so much to prepare for, with the way this team's been able to threaten you down the field with, throwing to Troy Franklin and those other receivers. And, that wasn't quite there as consistently this past week, but the way you can run the ball, the way the tight ends have gotten involved, the short yardage package, I mean, all the different things they can throw at you. Sean Dollars is a threat out of the backfield. Jordan James is a short yardage guy. Just all the way all this different personnel is mixed and matched, and their strengths are taken advantage of. And Bo's running ability is just one more facet to that, and just makes this offense really fun to watch, and again, really tough to prepare for.
I think on the outside looking in on this game, you feel like there's going to be some points scored, and that to me is where it comes back to the defense. The defensive backfield, we talked about them being tested, but when Brandon Dorlus is doing like what he did against Stanford, that puts a lot of pressure on a quarterback. I don't care if you're mobile or not. It puts pressure on the quarterback.
No doubt. And, getting a full game of DJ Johnson after he could only play a half last week, a most welcome development. Again, now you got to be disciplined. You just can't. Tanner McKee for Stanford. Certainly is an athletic guy, but a little bit more of a pocket passer type. Probably felt like he could maybe pin your ears back a little bit more. With this guy, you lose contain, he'll make you pay. So I mean, it is a different kind of challenge for those guys. You got to make, kind of keep that pocket integrity. Don't let him get free and move around, because he can throw it on the run too. So if you pressure him and you lose contain on the other side, and he gets moving, and he can still chuck it down the field and really make a play. And Dan Lanning had that great line the other night about how he throws balls up, and call it a 50-50 ball. For them, it's more like 70-30, because the way they can make plays on the ball. That shows you kind of the respect. I mean, it feels like every answer that he's given, regardless of the question, has either started or ended up back at their receiving group and their passing game, and just how impressive that is.
That's a good point. Rob Moseley joining us. Chris Miller was on the Mighty Oregon podcast this week.
He was awesome to catch up, and for me, that's kind of a hole. That era is kind of a hole in my history. So it was really fun to catch up with him. I mean, the pride he has in the whole quarterback lineage that he was part of, and the guys who came before him, including Jorgie. And obviously the guys who came after, and he talked about, playing in golf tournaments with those guys and how great it is. And, I particularly as a guy who played at Sheldon, started here as a freshman, went on the NFL, and all the parallels with Justin Herbert's career. I think, he talked about seeing Herbert as like a fourth grader and seeing him throw the ball and going, oh, that guy's different. So that was really fun. And, more good stuff coming up in the can. So, it continues to be a really fun project, really educational for me, and hopefully fans are enjoying it too.
Well, that's what it's for. I mean, so I told you this off the air, I think, Rob. I can't remember if I said this to anybody on the air, but when we weren't playing games, I had to go back to the drawing board and be like, what are we going to do on Duck and Cider every day? Yeah. The point of this show, if you haven't figured it out by now, is a daily update on what's going on, and we're going to get as much coach and student athlete interview content as we can. And so I kind of started doing that, right? Yeah. One thing that came from that, I feel like maybe for both of us, is that we kind of tried to pull back some of the longer form interviews of guys and girls and student athletes and former student athletes, alumni that have these great stories. And that has been a fun piece in the last 3 years. I actually feel like I've learned a lot more that I didn't know.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I would totally agree with that. And doing the podcast in particular, names that sort of were off in the ether that I was, vaguely aware of. Oh yeah, that guy played here, but what era exactly, and what were the big moments for him? I have such a better grasp now on things like that. And I, talking to Chris Miller, I was like, tell me about Lou Barnes. When I go through the record book, I see that name and I see him associated with the era that you played, but tell me, what kind of player was he? Describe what kind of a threat he was. What did he, what did he mean to this offense? So to get, for guys no longer to just be sort of a name in a record book and some numbers associated with it, but to sort of bring that to life is great.
I got to tell you, that's where I'm so spoiled, because the amount of just, traveling time and dinners that I have with Jerry and Jorgie.
Right.
I didn't realize this until probably 5-6 years into my career, where I was like, I learned so much just sitting there and being like, so Jorgie, tell me about this.
Right.
And then next thing I know, I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. It's that's really cool. Get it where you get your podcast, Mighty Oregon Podcast.
Yeah.
Volleyball, women's soccer. It's tough on the road, man.
Yep.
It's going to be a tough road weekend.
Yeah, I think, they're kind of in different situations right now. Soccer is coming off a tough weekend, but, you probably feel good about getting your goalkeeper back after Leah Freeman had to miss some time because of the red card. Good experience for her backup, that's for sure. But and to see a freshman kind of perform valiantly when thrust into it, good. But, yeah, they need to get on track now, I mean, those in terms of RPI, losing to UCLA, USC is not going to hurt you. But you do have to, to start to make some hay here now. And you've got some pretty tough opponents behind you, and you've got that win over Washington, which is really, really valuable. But they got to kind of get it going. And then volleyball, it's like, can you sustain it? I mean, you're playing at such a high level, but there's, it feels like forever left in this season, probably to Matt Ulmer. Part of him probably wants to get to the postseason now.
That's
they're playing great, and we're feeling good about things, and let's go. But no, you got to prove you can sustain it now for another, 6 weeks, whatever it is. So, and you got to take it on the road after playing really well at home. But I mean, heck, they've won 11 straight sets at this point. I mean, we've talked about their depth and all the different lineups that he's played with and things like that. As of right now, it feels like he's kind of pushing all the right buttons, and they've got everybody on the same page, and they're pushing each other. And people who aren't playing as much in matches are still pushing for reps in practices, and kind of making everybody around them better. So that's a delicate balance.
Yeah.
So let's see if he can sustain it.
And Matt Ulmer, coming up in just a little while on today's Duck Insider. And he is Rob Moseley, editor-in-chief, GoDucks.com. Thanks, dude.
Hey, yeah, thank you.
See you on the tarmac. Actually, I'll see you at practice tomorrow.
Yes,
but then I'll see you on the tarmac.
Yep.
All right. Don't leave without us. We got to do the show
I can't make any promises.
We got to do the show a little early in the morning, so we're going to kind of race to the airport. It's going to be close.
I don't have to tell you that I don't really have a vote on that. When if they say the plane's leaving, I'm just going to try to be on it.
I just try to be on it.
Yeah. And if we take off and you're driving up and waving,
I'll just
apologize.
I'll do my best Fast and Furious
but
impression.
There won't have been anything I could do about it.
Yeah. That's okay. When we come back, Bucky Irving going to talk with the Oregon running back, one of the best in the country at yards after contact. More on that in the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimates, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimates, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
To your children's eyes to see the true magic of a forest. It's a storybook world for them. You look and see a tree. They see the wrinkled face of a wizard with arms outstretched to the sky. They see treasure in pebbles. They see a windy path that could lead to adventure. And they see you, their fearless guide through this fascinating world.
Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt US Kids, and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, Joey Mack, it's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Bucky Irving, been one of the best guys in the country in yards after contact, and he talked about that. He's talked about a lot of other things that have made him successful, including catching the ball out of the backfield, something he's worked on. A lot of good topics with Bucky Irving, Oregon running back this week.
80-yarder, did you have any notes for him after that run?
No, I didn't know he was going to pull the ball right there, so I was excited for him when he ran an 80-yard touchdown. Just celebrated with him after.
Have you seen him do stuff like that in practice before? You know he had that on his chest?
Yeah, I didn't know he was that fast, though. So it was exciting to see him get up and get running like that.
What kind of teammate has Bo been so far to you?
I mean, Bo has been a great quarterback, great leader to the team. Always there when we need him. Show up big-time moments. We can call on him anytime.
What makes you so slippery as a runner? You know, the first guy's never really able to take you down.
First off, I just want to thank my offensive line on the great job they do on a weekly basis. It all started with them guys up front. But I just feel like I got that mindset. Don't let the first guy bring me down.
You talked after the first couple of weeks about wanting to kind of shore up your hands and be more reliable as a receiver. Like the catch you made late in the Washington State game, like, do you feel like you've kind of proven that some of those early issues were behind you and you're more reliable than that?
No, I just had to take some pressure off myself, not thinking about it too much. I've been there before. I know I can catch the ball out of the backfield, do things that I can do. So I just had to take the time and just stay out to practice and practice on it a little more and not get too comfortable.
Your balance and change of direction is pretty unique, I think. Is that something you grew up having? You've learned that through other sports? I'm just curious what your background is to really stay up like that.
I just be thinking, like, don't go down. Just try to break tackles and have great contact balance, because Coach Locke also preach on that a running back also always supposed to have good contact balance and good short area bursts. So I just try to put that into my toolbox.
Is that instinct though, or is that something you've Do you feel like you get better at breaking tackles? Like, is that a thing you can improve upon, or is that just a natural thing?
I feel like my game is not where I want it to be. It's always room for improvement, so I just want to keep stacking days and getting better.
It's like when you're about to get tackled, you kind of embrace it or lean into the guy.
Say it again?
Right before you get tackled, it feels like you initiate the contact. Is that by design? Like, what are you trying to accomplish by that?
Our coach always say bring the fight to him, not let him bring the fight to you.
With the committee of running backs you guys have, kind of splitting such as evenly with Noah, do you feel like you're more fresh at this point in the season than you have been in the past?
Yeah, I feel like us, by rotating us every other drive, it keeps us fresh and going in the game, being able to showcase your talent.
Do you guys go into the game knowing there's set rotations? Do you know that you're going to get the first drive and the third drive, per se?
No, we just go based off him coming up to us, telling us what drive we got.
With how effective you guys were against Stanford, do you feel like that was sort of, the gate being open for this rushing attack to sort of really take off from here?
I mean, it always starts in practice, so the things that we do in practice, we want to translate to a game. So I feel like if we prepare well in practice, it'll also translate to the game.
Bucky, your teammates calling you by your nickname. What does that mean to you? Is that, you introduce yourself as Bucky to them?
Yeah, I came in, introduced myself as Bucky. I really don't go by Marquise often.
Mm-hmm. In high school, your coach talked about how you had to earn them calling you your nickname. Have you had to do that here?
Not really. I just came in. So when I was in high school, I was coming in as a transfer from Morgan Park High School, and my coach said I had to earn the right to get the name called Bucky because everybody was calling me that. So he wanted to put a little pressure on me so I can earn the right to be called that.
Do you think that was a good tactic for him to put that pressure on you?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think by him putting that pressure on me, it made me a great player because going into there, I was like, he wanted to humble me, and I think he did a great job of that. I was fighting for a spot over there. He used to just bench me. He used to put me in. Like, he used to play mind games with me. He used to tell me none wasn't going to be given to me, so I always had that mindset and kept that mindset down the road.
How has that helped you out now?
I mean, it's been great. I want to shout out to Coach Mo for also and the coaching staff for doing that, making me have adversity so I can face adversity early on in high school so I can know what it's like on the next level.
You talked about how, that nickname comes from your father. What does that mean to you now? Does it help you remember him in the past? Or?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely. I mean, very lot to me. My father passed away when I was 2 years old, so by sticking with that name, I'm just going to ride with it.
As a running backs room, where do you think you guys have kind of improved the most from game 1 to now, game 5?
I feel like we still got room for improvement. We're not where we want to be at.
What have you seen from this Arizona defense beginning to prepare for this week?
I feel like they got a great defense. They got a bunch of athletes over there that run to the football.
When in pass blocking in particular, when Eccles, their outside linebacker, is pretty disruptive, and you're asked to pass block against guys like that, just how do you prepare for a challenge like that?
It all starts in practice. We got great linebackers over here that do the same thing. So by us preparing to practice, Noah Sewell, Justin Flo, seeing them guys pass rush us, I feel like it'll transfer over to the game.
With the exception of obviously Georgia and Washington State, how important is it for you guys to get off to a fast start on the offensive end?
I mean, it's important to set the tone.
Definitely important to set the tone.
I agree.
Matt Ulmer, Oregon Volleyball head coach, is here. Hey, keys to winning at Arizona. What's it going to take?
What?
Keys to winning at Arizona. What's it going to take?
Set the tone early.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. Matt Ulmer, Oregon Volleyball head coach, is here. When we come back, a great home weekend. Ducks taking it on the road. 6 straight wins for volleyball. We're going to talk about that when we come back on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
This is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
This is an important message from the Mine Safety and Health Administration. Mining fatalities, accidents, and injuries are preventable. Taking a minute to approach your task safely can protect you and your fellow miners from injury and death. Staying alert and focused can keep you safe. Do it safe. Do it right. Whether buckling a seatbelt or securing equipment, these quick safety measures can prevent injuries and fatalities. Take time. Save lives. For more resources, visit MSHA.gov.
Farming is dangerous. There's dangers all around us.
We go through safety training and try and do these things to make sure accidents don't happen.
You don't want to hit a gas pipe because that's your life. The other part of it is if you hit certain things, you're liable for it.
Farm Safe 811 starts with you. Always call 811 and wait for any underground lines to be marked.
Always keep safety in the back of your mind. Just stay humble.
For more information, go to farmsafe811.org.
We're back inside the Country Financial Studio. The keys to success at Arizona for Oregon football, according to Matt Ulmer.
Set the tone early.
Set the tone early.
That's what it is.
Is that true for you guys?
I don't think that was according to me, though.
Well, it was, though.
I just repeated what okay.
But I'm a professional regurgitator. That's all I do. I listen to people that are a lot smarter than me, and then I say it back when I get asked about it.
Is that true?
Yeah.
But does it sound better when he says it, or?
It's
okay.
yeah, it depends.
You've had time to think about it.
Exactly.
Okay.
I can, think. I don't do that. But it's a good word to use. Matt Ulmer, Oregon Volleyball head coach, here with us. Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Hey, great weekend this past weekend, huh? Break it down for us.
Not doing this anymore?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's good. That's good.
I don't even.
That was good. When we do left hand, we both hit our rings.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, you really.
It's just a good reminder.
It really is a good reminder.
That we need to bring. We need to be good for our family. So, don't say all the things you want to say.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No.
That's what that means.
Oh, okay.
So just a reminder. Don't.
Okay.
I think that's what it means. That's what it means for me, not for you.
Was it a good home weekend?
Oh, yeah. It was. I thought we played pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Arizona's normally, we have a hard time with them. Arizona State, I feel like it's been a 5-setter last few years playing with them.
No kidding.
I thought we played pretty clean against them and then carried that over against Arizona. And a lot of people did a lot of good things. Gloria Muteri was all world the first night against Arizona State, and our outsides are just doing a great job, and Hannah's been running the offense well, and so many things.
We talked about this a little bit last week, but I kind of wanted to follow up with you. Like the versatility, I don't even know if that's the right word. The depth, maybe that's not even the right word. There's probably
What are you trying to say?
Words.
You should copy somebody else's words and then.
Well, that's the thing. When I haven't heard
when it's up
this
to you,
said, it's hard.
I have to just kind of figure it out.
That's right.
All right. What are you trying to say?
That's why I think that your offense has been really good because a lot of different individuals have stepped up in different matches, and that's part of why you're probably on a 6-match winning streak. Is it depth? Is it versatility? Is it just you're really good? What is it?
I think your first two words both worked.
Excellent.
I think you should have just stuck with one of them.
Well, see, if you had let me finish my thought.
It was going to take a long time
to
get through that.
It was a long time. But I was basically going to say all of these words together probably describe your offense.
Yeah, I think, again, most teams on defense, they're going to try to come up with a scheme to pick on one or two people to try and stop them. Yeah. And I think, where we want to become, as a whole is that you can't do that. Mm-hmm. And if you do, we're going to make you pay with somebody else or a different play or, just have a lot of different answers to that. And so I think the more that we play, we see what teams are trying to do. And then, we can practice getting better at the things that maybe they think we're not good at. And so for, Arizona State, they were more worried about maybe Brooke and Mimi, which rightfully so. Then Gloria went off, that was exciting. And then Arizona, they were not paying attention to our middles as much. And you see Colby have a big one, or our back row attack was really scoring. So I think, for us as a group, we want to be able to be versatile. And we have depth for sure, that we can bring in and use in different spots. I think versatile was better than the depth part. But we do have depth, yes.
And you're really good. That helps.
Well, I think when you can control the ball, and so far we've been able to do that pretty well, then I think we got a shot.
I wanted to ask you a little bit more about Colby Neal. 9 kills, hit 500, again, that to me is the example of the depth, right? Like you guys have the ability to have different weapons.
Okay.
See, there was a thought here. There was a process to the madness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Colby tweaked her back like the start of Pac-12 play, and so she didn't play against Oregon State. And I still don't think she looked, totally back to herself against Stanford, even though I thought she played just fine. But I think she's starting to feel better, so, just trying to get her more involved with the offense. And, if you can hit that slide attack, it really opens the floor up for us. So, I thought she did a really nice job of that this weekend, something we're definitely going to need from her moving forward. And then she's got a blocking assignment next to our setter, where people are going to try to pick on the setter's block. And so I think she's doing a good job of handling that, making some good touches. So I think she's doing a lot of things well.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring that up. Like, you always want to attack the setter, right? Because it takes them out of your passing, gets your offense. I mean, this is where a rally can be so interesting from point to point, I feel like, at least for me watching. How much are you thinking about that during a long rally? Because you guys did have some doozies of rallies this weekend that you guys won.
Well, I think that's one of the things, like, we've done the 6-2 the last few years.
Yeah.
And that means we always had a setter in the back row.
Right.
And so teams could always just put the ball to the setter, and we're always out of system or, more predictable with our offense. So now in a 5-1, they don't get to do that as much. Harder for them to do. Plus, we've gotten better at out-of-system attacking, which is exciting. So I think that's been a real positive change for us this year with our offense. But I think a lot of people, when they look at our block up front, they see, Brooke as a smaller blocker, Nuneviller, and then they see, Hannah or Elise as a smaller blocker or setter. And so I think they think that they can score in those places. But those people are really solid blockers, even though they might not be the highest. They do a good job, and then I think we're doing a better job of just transitioning and playing defense behind it.
I wanted to ask you about the defense in a minute, but you said something there that piqued my interest. I
haven't done that in a while. Cool.
Well, you do it all the time. I just don't always,
recognize it or just make me feel good.
Why would I give you credit?
No one ever does, so it's good.
Out of system. You said it's exciting that you guys are better at scoring out of system. Maybe this is an obvious question, but I would imagine the best teams in the country tend to be the ones that score well out of system. Does that correlate to victory in volleyball?
Totally. I mean, we were one of the best, if not the best, ball control team last year, and we were the worst out-of-system attacking team.
Really?
And so, you're going to have a hard time, especially under pressure. Really good serving team. Maybe it's just a bad environment, a tough environment where you're uncomfortable. You don't want to rely on a perfect pass and perfect set every time. You want to be able to just get the ball up and put it up to somebody else, and then we go up and do something good with it. I think that is really, we've gotten better at a lot of things, but I think that's maybe the biggest jump that we've had this year is that, teams before, they just thought, hey, if we could just serve them tough to get them out of system, then they got a chance. Well, now we're still a pretty good passing team, but now if we get uncomfortable, we're still finding ways to score.
Matt Ulmer, Oregon Volleyball head coach here with us. I think that in every sport, it's in a lot of ways easier to talk about the success offensively because there tends to be more statistics to back up those conversations. Volleyball is one, though, where I think that it's a little bit more tangible with some of the statistics, but then it's a lot of the eye test. You mentioned after the match that the defense was just so good against Arizona. Tell fans why. Why was the defense so good?
Yeah, I think in our sport, there's, we have our own hitting percentage, right? So kind of like batting average in baseball. Well, we also have an opponent's hitting percentage. So what are we holding them to, right? And I think this past weekend we held them, the two Arizona schools, to like 120 something, right? That is so low. Especially against really, solid teams. So that was great. Now our offense was also 370 or whatever, so that's a 250 point difference. I mean, that's wild.
Why you sweep back-to-back.
That's why you sweep back-to-back, right? Because of those two things. But yeah, I mean, if we're holding opponents to that, and I think overall in the conference right now we're second in offense, second in defense, and we're close to being first in both of those. So I mean, that's a good recipe to getting what you want. But we're serving pretty well. I think we're serving well enough that we're making teams predictable. Our block is being pretty stable. And then we have, like I said before, and we have some really great individual defenders. But we're starting to learn how to play defense as a team. And so I think it's just you have to make a really good play to score on us right now. And I think that's the type of pressure you just want to keep on the other side. And that will for sure be tested this weekend.
You talk about some of those statistics. Like I was thinking blocks and then team hitting percentage. But I did want to ask you about Georgia Murphy. I mean, obviously she's going to end up with a lot of digs.
Yeah.
It seems like she's – maybe this is not a fair description. I'd be curious for you to correct it. But as like a floor general defensively, it seems like she's done a nice job of that for you this season.
Oh, I mean, she's one of our captains. She's a great leader. She's become very vocal. She audibles our defense. in plays, which that's, really impressive to do. She'll tell everybody what's going to happen before it happens, things along those lines. And a lot of teams we play, they know not to hit the ball toward Georgia.
Right.
So we try to be aware of that so that we can change our defense to make it harder for them to be able to get away with that. And then maybe they'll try to test Georgia again, and that gets her some reps. But her digs per set are down, I think, a lot of times because people just don't go to her.
Right.
They're going to try to make somebody else beat them. But then that's hard because then there's Nunavilla, and then there's others that are really good at it. So, we just try to be a really well-rounded team. And not just individuals. So it's been fun, with this group, trying to figure out how to do that best.
Yeah, and I feel like we talk about it offensively with depth. Defensively, you see that then too, right? I mean,
yeah.
I feel like that a less successful team than what you guys are right now, you wouldn't have the versatility and the depth defensively to do what you're doing. Fair assessment?
Yeah, and I think, positions that go really unnoticed on our sport are like defensive specialists.
Mm-hmm.
People, because their stat line isn't something that's ever going to really pop out to you.
Right.
Like the Becca Morrises or the Daly McClellans, those on our team. But those are crucial. Mm-hmm. Just having Daly back from her injury has given us a huge shot in the arm as far as ball control, defense, serving. I mean, just overall gamesmanship play. She's done a great job, and it's really made a big difference for us.
Matt Ulmer, Oregon Volleyball head coach, is with us. So you've won 6 straight. 4 of them have been sweeps. How do you go about talking about that with the team? How have they handled the success that you guys have had recently?
We don't talk about that. I mean, it's seriously just like we have Washington State next. And Washington State is really good. They're so hard to beat at their place. Or for us just in general, we have a hard time with them. Big blocking team. They serve really aggressive. And again, as a team that hasn't been very good out of system, that's not good to play Washington State or Washington as that. So I'm hopeful that, again, we can continue to carry over what we've been working on, and that will put us in better shape.
He's Matt Ulmer. His squad, by the way, number 7. First committee reveal.
Yeah. What do you think?
Does it matter?
What do you think?
I mean, I feel like that's good because you'd host.
We want to host.
1 is the best.
1 is better. 7's good.
7's good. I guess the reason I say this, like we say this, we're both kind of joking about this, but I do mean this sincerely. Do you like that they're doing the reveal in the middle of the year? Does it help give you a barometer? Is it a distraction? I don't know. All those questions, I guess.
I think there's a lot of different rankings.
Yeah.
A lot of them are coaches or just, public opinion type things. The ones that matter is this one.
Right.
So there's RPI, there's other metrics, but this is the one that matters. So it's always nice to know kind of where the committee's head's at as far as what they're going to value. You don't know, so I like it, and then plus it gets attention to the sport.
Yeah,
and something to talk about. And I think that's great. People should be talking about women's volleyball. It's an amazing sport, and I like that we're having a light shine on us.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of times where there are things like that give people like me something to talk about. But in this case, I'm a fan because it does, right?
Yeah.
Give you and me a chance to sort of break it all down. And now we can spend an entire program doing that.
Right.
Which is what we do.
That is what you do.
Yeah.
He said we. Wow. Did you hear that?
That's what we do on Duck Insider.
That is what we do at Duck Insider.
We only have about 30 seconds, but I just want to get keys to success. I like to end on that. What's going to take winning on the road this weekend?
I mean, with both these teams, if they are in system, if that setter doesn't have to move, then they are really tough to beat. So we got to serve aggressive on the road. We haven't been on the road, it feels like, in a minute. So we need to be able to handle those environments well. And then we have to play clean. We have to play the volleyball that we've been playing. We'll be successful, but just go get in a fight and just keep punching.
Friday, 7 o'clock in Pullman. Both matches on Pac-12 Network. 4 o'clock on Sunday in Seattle. Oregon Volleyball on the road. Number 7 in the latest committee rankings. And he is Matt Ulmer.
It's just a pleasure, really.
It really is.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you.
This was nice. Next time, let's spice it up. Okay.
You can send us to break. I don't have anything to add.
He's still here. Go Ducks.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer: the drug facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the drug facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/drug facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
All right, a little bit of inside the program here. Matt's actually sticking around in the studio to do another video piece for us, so he's still here.
Ulmer to you. Okay?
Yeah, I keep doing that to you.
Yeah, Coach Ulmer.
Coach Matthew Ulmer.
That's fine.
What's your middle name?
What do you think it is?
I have no idea.
What did you say? Perry? Matthew Perry?
That'd be good.
David. It's David.
David? Good middle name.
Thank you.
Strong name.
Yeah, I did come up with it, but thanks.
Matthew David Ulmer. Good name.
So one, I want to know, do you think he's funny when he's interviewing me? One. And then who is he other most funniest with?
Say that again?
Uh-huh. Exactly right. Who's the other?
So like if you set the bar
like
for
your
comedy,
personality, I want to know who brings out your personality.
Oh. Well, you think you do.
No, I don't. I'm asking. I asked you guys and you gave me an answer.
Yeah.
I
don't know. Depends.
I'd like to know.
I think that, every interview is different.
Mm-hmm.
But I think routinely you're the funniest.
I think so too. My wife doesn't think I'm very funny.
Well.
Or anyone else in my life, actually.
I think you're funny.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
I'll come back.
Good. Next week. After some wins.
Okay. Because that's all it takes to make you happy, right? That's what we learned.
See you tomorrow.
Unused prescription opioid pain medicines can spell trouble. They can spell risk if taken by someone they weren't prescribed for, harm if accidentally taken by a child or pet, or overdose if they're not used as directed. Safely dispose of opioids before they can hurt your family. Find a drug take-back option such as medicine drop boxes. You may find these in your community at local pharmacies or police stations. Visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Are you thinking about buying medicine